Another thing that happens to me on a lot of these dating sites is that people think I'm catfishing. I can't tell you how many times I've received the, oh my gosh, you look just like Kaz. Like, how do I try to convince somebody that actually, yeah, I am Kaz? Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Spread, a safe space where we get to discuss everything sex and relationships. And now that we're talking about relationships, I really want to talk about online dating in times of COVID. So I took this opportunity of being in solitude, which I guess a few people would wonder why I would do this, but it makes so much sense for me to start online dating. It's not my first time to online date. I have Tindered and Bumbled a few times. I've had some wonderful success stories. I've met some one-night stands, some of them. But I've also made some really deep connections, some people who turned out to be really good friends. I think those will be story times. I have many stories of Tinder past, but that's not why we're here today. Today I want to share with you an experience that I had with online dating. What I decided was, because I'm such an introvert, I am, believe it or not, I'm such an introvert. So because I'm such an introvert, I decided that I was going to start online dating at this time of isolation and quarantine. I thought it would be better for me because it would be an opportunity to get to know somebody. It would also be an opportunity for me to get to know people from anywhere in the world. And because I travel often, it would be great to get to know somebody maybe from a different part of the world and then sort of talk about traveling there. I don't know. This was just like my imagination was running wild. And anything for me was possible. Anything for me is possible at all times. So I figured this would be the perfect time without the pressure of possibly meeting somebody for coffee or whatever to get to know them a little bit better. So what I did was I reinstalled a few of the dating apps that I had used in the past. That's Tinder and Bumble, and there's an app called Happen. And I installed 2 new dating apps. That's OkCupid and FetLife. FetLife is specifically for people who are into fetishes and kinks and BDSM and being able to meet your match. And I thought that would be pretty cool, especially in times like this, knowing exactly what you're, like, you know, with FetLife, if you're in the kink and BDSM lifestyle scenes, then it's much easier to just meet somebody who is already like-minded and you don't have to talk about BDSM and kink and like with all of the other dating apps. And because I think BDSM and kink play such a big role in my life, meeting somebody on like the more vanilla, quote unquote, dating apps is always going to be harder for me to introduce them into certain aspects of my life without feeling judged maybe a little bit. And so FetLife was set out to be exactly that. This is what happened. Downloaded all the apps at the same time, set up all my profiles at the same time. Now, unfortunately, I don't have much to report back from FetLife because they weren't able to verify me. So I never created a profile, or rather it was really hard. And I can't remember what the reason was. I think some of the, which I think is really good security-wise, but some of the requirements for setting up a profile require for you to have, like, I actually can't remember what it was. I think it's like they want you to take a picture with your ID, or is that OnlyFans? Oh my gosh. Which, by the way, OnlyFans, I don't have access to in Kenya. Or rather, I don't have access to setting up my own profile in Kenya, which is such a struggle. But yeah, I really struggled. I tried to register my profile on FetLife like maybe 3 or 4 times, and then after a while it didn't work, so I just deleted it. So I was left with OkCupid, Happen, Tinder, and Bumble. Did I go on Tinder? Let me just verify that.
A few moments later.
No. I did not register Tinder. For whatever reason, Tinder has such, I don't know. Tinder for me is a little bit triggering. I find that there's something about it. It probably is associates itself with something that happened at some point in my life. So for me, Tinder is a little bit triggering. Every time I see it, I go into a little mini panic. So I decided that I wanted to find dating apps that were not Tinder, and that would maybe give me similar results. So I set up FetLife, OkCupid, Bumble, and Happen. There was 4 of them. FetLife didn't happen, unfortunately. If anybody has a reason for this happening, please just comment in the description box below. I'm really keen to hear what I might have done wrong with verifying my profile. I know that somebody on Instagram mentioned that they were able to get their FetLife profile verified. So please let me know if you think that I did anything wrong. Holla at a girl. OkCupid, I heard from many people, was an app that had a lot of other women. So if you're keen on dating same sex, I know that for guys, Grindr works really well. But I think if you're a woman, then I think that it's easy to find people that are like that on OkCupid. They ask you all of these questions about your sex life, about your dating life, about the kind of people that you're interested in. Like, it's super detailed down to, are you polyamorous? Are you looking to date couples? Are you like the different genders, that like who might you be interested in? It's narrowed down so much. So by the time that you filled in this like really long and also kind of fun questionnaire, by the time they're matching you with somebody, it's like 86% or 96%. And then the people who they're matching you with, the order is according to the higher percentage. It goes from high percentile to like the lower percentile. And so I like that, because you already know that if you're matching with somebody that's like 86% or whatever, then you have a lot of things that are pretty similar, including, and I find that there's also a few other dating sites that have, you know, if you have pets, or if you smoke, or if you drink, or how frequently you know, those things. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? And I love that because it really eliminates a lot from the potential partners that you're looking for. My only problem with OkCupid is majority of the people that I matched with were not in Kenya. So I know that I did say that I was looking to date people that were from around the world, but like, I think I matched with like 1 or 2 people that were in the country, and then majority of the people were from outside the country. So the problem with matching with people that are not in Kenya is that not everybody else wants to date somebody that's outside of their country. A lot more people want to date people that are within their sphere, and people that they can meet, people that they can interact with when all of this is said and done. And I, on the other hand, I think I enjoy long distance relationships because it feeds into my commitment phobia. That's a story for another day. But OkCupid was really good on the front of, you know, getting to know people and matching you with people that were within the same brackets, or people you have similar interests with. My only problem with OkCupid is that it's not always easy to navigate. I think the thing with dating apps is that they have to find a way to make it really easy to communicate. For example, if I matched with somebody, I don't know if there's like I still haven't learned it properly, but I think there's like a time limit of how long you've been on the app that allows you to message. Like, for example, if you've downloaded the app today, maybe you have to be on it for like a couple of hours before you get the message box. It's just like, it was so complicated. So I matched with a couple of people, and then I just couldn't find the place where you were supposed to message them. So somebody sent me a message, and then I couldn't find the place where I could open the message to read what they had said. And it was just like, after a while, honestly, it was very frustrating. So I wasn't on OkCupid as often as I was on other apps. The third app I want to talk about is Happen. Now, Happen is a great app for what it's worth, but then in these times of quarantine and isolation, not necessarily so. Happen is an app that links you with people that you have similarities with based off of the questionnaire that you've answered, but people within a certain radius. So this really helps, for example, if you're traveling a lot, around the city even. So if I'm in Nairobi and I create my profile, these are the kind of people that I'm looking for, and then I have like certain people that I'll match with. I might match with them, and then if I move to like from one side of Nairobi to the other side of Nairobi, it'll say, oh, there's so and so in this area or in this neighborhood. So Happen is a really good app for people who are constantly moving around, which happens when we're not in isolation and in quarantine, right? So I guess it's also really good if you're trying to find people and date people who are in your neighborhood, or people who are just within a close proximity. For example, like it would show you people that were in Westlands or people that were in South B, and so on and so forth. It would probably be a really good hookup app if it was used more often for that. I don't know if Grindr does that. I don't know how Grindr works. I don't know if it shows you, like, blinks up when somebody that you've matched with is in your area, or somebody that you might be interested is in your area. Beep, 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 beep. But that's how Happen works. And also, Happen is really hard to navigate. I know that I was really struggling to find the message box, and also I find that with Happen that there's not very many women who are trying to date other women, so it's a really heterosexual app. And so obviously, I mean, as much as I am queer and open to dating all genders, there's certain genders that are more heteronormative than others, and I'm usually not keen on those kind of people. So for me, Happen wasn't exactly the greatest, but it could definitely be your thing if you're still able to move around, if you want to find people that are in your neighborhood, and if you kind of like hard to navigate. Last but not least, Bumble. Bumble is an app that I've been on before and have had some success in that I met people that I still communicate with once in a while. I've never met anybody. I've never actually been on a Bumble date. I've been on Tinder dates before, but I've never been on a Bumble date. And I know that, like, in Kenya, people say that Tinder is the app where, honestly, everybody is on Tinder. But Bumble has sort of been known to have a more refined group of people who are not necessarily, like, I feel like Tinder is like the app full of disgusting men that would, if allowed, send you dick pics. I feel like that's the app where people would send you dick pics. But Bumble, I mean, surely sleazy motherfuckers are everywhere. I know that it was created for men dating women, heteronormative. And the thing with Bumble is that if you are a woman and you match with somebody that's like a man, this is completely binary, then the woman has to be the one to make the first move. And there's a 24-hour grace period, I guess, with which the woman has the opportunity to make the first move with the guy. So if you don't make a move within the first 24 hours, then the person that you matched with disappears. They cancel. The thing about Bumble, by the way, is that if you match with women, I don't know how it works with the 24-hour grace period. And I feel like a lot of the women that I matched with on Bumble are not queer necessarily. They're probably just looking for friendships or are curious, not a thing that I'm interested in. And so the same-sex dating on Bumble doesn't work for me. But I always do meet some really interesting guys. And I did meet this one interesting guy who I then became friends with. Oh my gosh, you'd think I was looking for friendship. I'm not. Another thing that happens to me on a lot of these dating sites is that people think I'm catfishing. I can't tell you how many times I've received the, oh my gosh, you look just like Kaz. Like, how do I try to convince somebody that actually, yeah, I am Kaz? I mean, how do you even convince somebody? It's happened to me like 3 or 4 times. I've met somebody once who said, oh gosh, it's somebody who's pretending to be you on Tinder. And I was just like, actually, it's me. And it's annoying. So it's really hard for me to date because a lot of people think that I'm catfishing. Also because my pictures are super bomb.
I'm a savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet.
First of all, if you're watching this, want to let you know that no, I'm not catfishing. Yes, I have been on dating apps. I actually since deleted them all because I promised that I would do 1 month of dating apps and then do a review. And it turns out that it's not really my thing. Some of the things that I'm looking for on dating apps are people whose authenticity shines through. For example, I really want to be able to see your personality. I'm very much attracted to people who have a sense of humor. So if your profile says something that's really funny or witty, then I'm always gonna be drawn to you, regardless of how you look. For me, it's also important that people's pictures show like different aspects of their personality. I really do want to see, and I think it's important that people are able to swipe through a couple of pictures that show different sides of you. If you're into sports, if you're into hiking, if you're a traveler, maybe, I think some of those things come across as like really important things. So if I see somebody's profile picture that has like a really hot picture, like the profile picture is really hot and I can't swipe to find another picture of you, then chances are that you're catfishing. And I won't trust you and I won't swipe right, especially if you haven't written anything down for your profile, like your bio description. So I want to be able to, if you're a good looking person and you have like a couple of pictures, I really want to be able to swipe and see you and your different face angles, just so I know that you didn't pull a picture off the internet. I really don't like to date white savior complex people. If I find that maybe, for example, you're a white person that's living in Kenya and then on your profile picture, it's a picture of you with like a bunch of like small boys from like impoverished areas. I actually don't even think that picture should be up anywhere. I actually don't think you should have been taking that picture in the first place. So putting it up as your Tinder profile, I don't know what you're trying to show, what you're trying to tell people, but that's just not my thing. I think opening lines with dating apps are really important. I like that Bumble does that for you, and it gives you like ideas on how to be able to phrase your opening line. And if you type hi, then Bumble is usually like, "Are you sure, girl? You sure you want to do that?" And says, maybe you could say this, like, you know. And I have used like the Bumble suggestions in a couple of instances and it's been pretty cool, but then I also feel like maybe the person that I'm speaking to knows that Bumble suggestion as well, so I'm also kind of shy to use those sometimes. And honestly, my go-to when I match with somebody is to just say, "Hey, how is online dating in times of COVID been for you," for example, or find like a really funny line or something that definitely requires for somebody else to respond to your question. I think that waiting for somebody else to make the first move isn't always the best move, and feeling, I mean, you've matched. And by the time, if you swipe right on somebody and it matches, it means that they've already swiped right on you. So the best thing to do is just write them and be like, other than staying home and isolating, what else are you planning on doing on this sunny day in Nairobi, for example? I don't know if I should be the person to listen to with regards to one-liners, but I know that there's a lot of tidbits on the internet if you look. All of this is to say that my online dating experience has been something that I don't necessarily want to do again at the moment. I find that when I travel, online dating is a lot more exciting. There's a lot more options and opportunities to meet people that are like-minded. And at the moment, I just feel like it's not necessarily my thing. It sometimes causes me a little bit of anxiety, but I do know that there's people out there who probably need communication, probably just need to be able to talk to somebody if you're alone, if you want to flirt, if there's something that's going to make you feel good about yourself. I think that it would be great. So don't knock it till you try it. That's been my experience.